and I promised I'd show you I do have a good time once in a while, so here I am. I'm not in Texas, but I'm in the next best place. Hello everybody, hey, it's March 6, 2016, and I thought I'd better make a couple of corrections from my video yesterday, The Storm Gathers. First correction is, of course, the USS Harry Truman is an aircraft carrier. It is not a submarine, and that was really the point of having all of those aircraft carriers lined up in Norfolk. So yes, the USS Harry Truman should have been referred to as an aircraft carrier. It'd be kind of hard to be a submarine the way it's built. The other thing I wanted to apologize for is calling Russia the Soviet Union. Although there's some philosophical reasons that I could get away with that, the fact is that I should have said Russia, not the Soviet Union. Also, I promised to show you some pictures of those DHS armored vehicles. Here they are. Notice the markings on the vehicles. Security right there.
Okay, bye guys.
Okay, talking about DHS, remember they said when the sequestration started that they had to let 2,000 illegal aliens out of the detention facilities. And then, just the other day, they said that they're going to release 5,000 more. And yet, DHS is building hundreds of what they call, I don't buy this, and I'll tell you why in a minute. They're building hundreds of what they call illegal alien detention facilities across the country. Well, first of all, they just let about 7,000 illegal aliens go. Most of those people are just probably here looking for work. But amongst them, a good number are hardened criminals, dangerous people. Now they've unleashed those people on the American society. The other side of it about these detention facilities is that if they're letting these illegal aliens go, who's going to go into the detention facilities? And here's the other thing. The budget, is still allowing those things to be built. With the big push on immigration reform, if that's successful, why would you need the illegal alien detention facilities? Do you see where I'm going with this? Now, I'm not saying that I like the way that immigration reform is going in the U.S., because it's not going to work. It's going to destroy, it's going to bring the whole thing down. Now, people say you're an alarmist or whatever, but I've been called that for a long time. All you got to do is look at the numbers. So look at California, and you'll be told that. Yeah, we should help people. Well, you need to make sure you take care of your own first. How would your wife feel, or your husband, if you had some neighbors that were poor and you gave them so much that you couldn't survive the next day, or the next week, or the next month? Sacrifice means doing what you can, not ripping everybody off for the sake of, somebody else. Everybody's got to take care of themselves to some extent. Now, we created this mess over in Mexico. If you saw my Borders documentary, you'd understand some of that. You had Fast and Furious and all these things that are causing the destabilization of Mexico. The American Union, is that what this is for? Is to force that? Well, anyway, as so often I got off track. The point of this thing with the DHS is those detention facilities are not for illegal aliens, or at least not a lot of them. Those detention facilities, like the one over in Denver, if you saw that here a while back, it was on television. Mainstream news was talking about it, asking what it was for. Then Jesse Ventura tried to do a program on DHS, and the network would not allow him to air that. And he actually interviews the people in this detention facility, and they're pretty much closed-mouthed. And yet you can tell that it's for families behind barbed wire with the top guard pointing inward, which would mean it's keeping people in, not for keeping people out for the protection of the kids. That was baloney. So we've got a problem here. These detention facilities, despite the fact that they're letting illegal aliens go by the thousands, immigration reform is just about done. I mean, as a matter of administration policy, they hardly enforce it. And now they're going to continue with these detention facilities, and guess who's going to go in there? I wonder. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and I'll let you go, you know, I really have a lot of respect for Ron Paul and Rand Paul. Rand Paul ran into a little difficulty when he was running, and also after he got into office, trying to play politics. And you know, whether or not you like what he did, and I think that's for another discussion. I want to talk about what he's doing right now. He's filibustering right now. I'm talking to you as he is filibustering in the Senate over the Brennan CIA nomination. And rightly so. Brennan was the one who signed off on the torture. You know, we were supposed to abide by the Geneva Convention. The United States went out and tortured people under Bush's authority. He's the one that actually signed off on it. You know, now, however you feel about the Republicans and George Bush, he committed a war crime, and I don't, you know, we can argue about that, but that's just a plain fact. All right, but I'm not going to go there right now. I still want to talk about Rand Paul. So he's out there filibustering, and he's pointing out that the administration yesterday said that President Obama has the right to assassinate Americans on American soil, okay, by those drones. And he's filibustering to say this is wrong. He talks about, you need to go read what he's saying here. Don't go on to CNBC or C-SPAN, I mean, you could. I don't know if you get the recording there. Go look at the text of what he's saying in some of the newspapers or maybe some of the alternative news. He's talking about we have to get back to the Constitution. You don't want to be killing Americans while they're sitting down eating dinner over the fact that they disagree with our policy, with administration policy that is now being considered under the Espionage Act of 1914, I think it was, somewhere back in there, that, you know, you talk bad about the war program or the war effort, and you're considered an espionage agent, and you can be thrown in jail. You know, that's wrong anyway, because you should have the right to be a dissident on anything that this government does. And you know what? When there is a civil uprising or a civil disrespect for what the government's doing, the people are speaking. If they're a small minority, or if there are a lot of people, it doesn't make any difference. You don't throw them in jail. That dialogue needs to be heard. So anyway, don't think that they're just going after some, you know, Arab guy that's here and has some ties to an organization that has ties to another organization. Then that's bad enough. Americans, by law, the supreme law of the land is the Constitution. They have a right to due process if they are to be charged with a criminal act. And that includes treason. If they do what the administration says that they're doing, that under the Constitution is treason. And there are ways in the Constitution to deal with that. And what is it? Due process. All right? A trial by a jury of your peers with at least 2 witnesses against you. Not some drone firing at you that you never see coming and you can't defend yourself against. These things are wrong, and you can tell I'm really upset about this. It's because there is an evil. You know, I've been real careful about where I've gone with this, but now I'm just going to say it. Our government is the evil empire, and we have an evil tyrant at the head of this government right now. And he might just be a puppet, but he's still an evil man, and I'll say it to your face, Obama. You're an evil man, and it has nothing to do with race. When I was in the military, I had good soldiers, both subordinates and superiors, that were a full black man. And I'll tell you what, I respect them to this day. But you, now I know your agenda and all those around you and what you're doing. Tucson, Arizona. Go look it up, folks. The city council, in secret, Oh, it was on the docket. It was on the agenda. But none of the citizens were allowed in the meeting. And you know what they did? This was February 20th, I believe. It's taken this long to find out that this happened. They ceded their authority to the commander of Mothan Air Force Base. In other words, they gave the federal government, the military, martial law power over the city of Tucson. That's one example. I wonder how many other cities have done this around the country where there are major military bases and posts. This might be a pandemic of traitorous, treasonous conduct. No, you're evil. And I'm done with it. You're evil. Your entire structure is evil. Your friends in London in the banking industry are evil. CFR, the Bilderberg Group, we always get locked into the names of these groups, and I really don't care. The problem is here at home. Our Congress is not holding your feet to the fire because they're in bed with you. And you killed Breitbart because he had some information on you about your communist activities when you were younger. Yeah, you've already assassinated Americans. All right, I lost my temper. But it's time that the Americans stand up and start calling it like it is. This isn't a game anymore. This isn't just politics. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in the process of deciding life and death for us and our children right now. Okay, well, I lost control again as usual. Wake up. Tell your leaders that they're stinking, rotten traitors and criminals, and you're coming after them, however they want to take it. Vote them out of office, recall them, picket them, demonstrate. Obama doesn't want to hear anything against his ideas, his plan. So he signed an executive order. Actually, it was a congressional bill, I apologize. And here we go with Congress giving it to him again, where he gets lifetime Secret Service protection, number one. Number two, that you can't demonstrate within, it's several hundred yards of anybody that the Secret Service is guarding. If you do, you can be arrested for a felony. Ladies and gentlemen, they're not that important that they be protected in their positions. They need to hear the voice of the people, and they can't do it having the demonstrators 200, 300, 400 half a mile away from them. Obama disarmed the Marine Guard during the inaugural parade. You gotta be kidding me. He took the bolts out of the M14s. He's afraid of his own military? This is unbelievable. Oh yeah. He's going to protect himself. He's going to protect his family. Have the Secret Service do it for his life and the life of his family. But he doesn't want you to have a gun to protect yourself. Okay, well, I got off track here again. You're evil, Obama. You deserve to be brought up on impeachment, tried, and then God help your soul. In your face. Americans, rise up and get in the face of these dirty politicians that grease their own palms. They can insider trade with impunity. They get to keep their assault weapons, but not you. They don't have to enter into Obamacare. You do. That's a title of nobility, exempting the leadership from the laws of the country. It's illegal, it's unconstitutional, and we need to say no. God help us. Well, I'm going to say a few other things. Having just eaten that dinner, reminds me of how we got domesticated animals. And the way it worked was, and is, the wild animals, you'd feed them a little bit today, little bit more tomorrow, a little bit the next day. And it just kind of kept going like that. Until finally, the animal stayed around because you were giving it something to eat, taking care of it, keeping it warm, whatever. So it lost its ability to be wild. We could probably return to it, but it wouldn't be easy. When you take free things from the state, don't think that it isn't coming down from the people at the top for the same reason. They want to domesticate you. They don't want you to be free, wild, dreaming of things that they don't want you dreaming about. They want you under their thumb. They want you to be a domesticated animal. At first I thought maybe I would say some things about the people that voted for Obama, but sometimes you just have to have the experience to wake up yourself. And it's not going to be a bed of roses here, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, it's going to affect all of us. And that brings me to the point about me in particular. I need to do a video on my background, and I plan on doing that. Not in too much depth, but a little bit so that you'll know where I'm coming from. I've stuck my neck out on a few things, and certainly I've been, a seeker of liberty, not listening to the status quo that often is just those guys trying to domesticate us as their animals. So, let me start off with this. I had a Monsignor in the Catholic Church at one point in time after he had gotten to know me for a while amidst one of my many battles, my efforts to be free, and I'm not one to be tamed. Those who have been around me know that. I'm not hard to get along with, but I won't put up with nonsense either. And so I'm not tameable in the sense that I'm going to bow down. There are many times when, I can deal with people, I can compromise on certain things, try to meet eye to eye. I love to make good relationships work. Of course, you might be wondering what my definition of a good relationship is. No, it's not being subservient to me. It's communication. And trying. Anything worthwhile takes some effort on everyone's part. But at any rate, this Monsignor said, you're never going to be subjected to anyone else, and you'll never be tamed. And he's been right. That was some 30 years ago. I'm still very much untamable today. I don't want to be domesticated. Not in the sense that they want, the system wants you to be domesticated. Pardon me, I just ate that dinner. Well, so that's where we are. And those people that go and running to the state for everything the state can give them, you know what they do to animals once they've domesticated them? The large majority of them? They slaughter them. Alright? And I'm saying that in all seriousness. These supposed shepherds at the top of the flock here, and that's a really bad analogy, I guess. They're more like, cattlemen. Nothing wrong with cattlemen, by the way. It just fits the description here, what I'm trying to say. They bring that herd along, and then they corral them, and then they go into the slaughterhouse. And that's where you're headed. And you're dragging all of us with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, those who are like me, will want to be left alone, live your life in freedom and liberty, not be domesticated, just going to have to take the step out. I said it in one of my other videos, you're just going to have to come out of Babylon, you're just going to have to get out of it. Demand it. It's going to fall anyway, and when it falls, you don't want to go with it. If you're already able to take care of yourself, it's not going to be a big deal. And then there's the question of doing right and wrong, and as I've talked about in many of these videos, our government is so evil, the things that they've done and are doing. So I won't be tamed. I won't be domesticated, and I'm not going to be your pawn. Not anymore. And I would hope that more Americans get to be like that. I have one more thing to say. I was going to bring this up in my biography, but the video. But I'll say it now. It's kind of an introduction. You know, when I was young, I grew up in a place not far outside of Washington, D.C. My dad and my mom got married in 1938, and they weren't able to have children. They didn't know why. You know, things happen. They tried. Didn't work, and then the war came along, World War II, and my mom and dad both felt guilty that they had this nice life, and people with children were having to go away, go overseas. So they volunteered. My mom became one of the very first WACs. She was a commissioned officer. My dad went to the Philippines, and they were both injured. But the interesting thing is my mom was then General Eisenhower's fiscal officer over in Britain. And after the war, you know, I remember sitting in a place, my mom would tell me about this later, at the feet of this man, and I remember him quite well. I didn't know who he was. I was too young to know. It was President Eisenhower. My mom and dad knew him, and they were guests at his place. I don't know that it was the White House, but it was somewhere. And I sat at his feet, and I imagine that probably one of the reasons why I'm the way I am today is because I must have heard him say things that stuck with my mind, my young mind at the time. So I guess that was my programming at an early age. So, like President Eisenhower said, this military-industrial complex is an evil, evil, evil thing. CIA, all of this stuff is way out of control. It's being used for evil, blasphemous reasons. And I don't want any part of it. I was for a while. I saw it from the inside. I know what you are. And as I kind of blew up here a little bit ago on Obama, I'm not going to change what I said. He knows what he is. He knows what he's doing. He's a willing puppet, but he knows what he's doing. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But all you people that voted for him because you were fooled, and I'm not saying it was good to vote for Romney either. They're all in this together. You got to understand. You got to just leave the system. You just got to say no to it. You know, and I'm afraid it's going to have to be very aggressive for anything to happen, because these people do wield a lot of power. They've got all the money. Well, paper money. Real wealth is in the earth, in the air, in the raw materials that you can use to make your life better, in your children. That's where the real wealth is. Don't let this beast, this wickedness at high places destroy that for you. Choose the right, and the right's always going to be on the side of an independent nature. Trust in God and let the rest of it go. Oh, work hard. Nothing wrong with that. It's good for you. Just don't work for them. All right. Okay. Well, enough for now. I'm philosophizing again. I just wanted to let you know I can calm down after I get upset. I don't usually stay mad too long. Thanks so much, and God be with you. You know, I better say one more thing about my mom, because all of you out there who heard me talk about how I feel about what our societies are doing to our women, especially the thing with the military, you might say, well, that's kind of inconsistent. No, my mom's the reason why I feel that way, and I'll tell you why. As I explained, she
went into the Women's Army Corps because she didn't want people with children to have to go. And she talked a lot of other women into it. She actually, encouraged other young women to do the same thing. And years later, of course, when I was quite a bit older, I was an Army officer, and she said to me, she broke down crying, sobbing, in grief like I had not seen in her ever. And what she said was that she did the wrong thing by encouraging those young women to go, because so many of them were horribly killed for no reason. No, she wasn't at all happy with the way things ended up. I think she understood, obviously, after she talked to people like Dwight Eisenhower, who understood all the politics and the ins and outs and the deceit and the deceptions and the tyrannies. She grieved the rest of her life for the lives of those women that were lost. I'll just leave it at that.